Hi, Jeanette.
Hi.
Hi. So I wanted to talk to you about your brand.
It's called Ma'ari, AAA. It's a traditional Tagalog word that people usually don't use in the vocabulary anymore. With Filipino culture, it's been conquered by so many other cultures, Spanish, Indian, American, that Ma'ari in their vocabulary was replaced with si se puede. So it means can be done, possibility.
Yeah.
And so, we wanted to name our brand off of something that was traditionally rooted in Filipino culture, but also has some positive message and mantra that we can move forward with.
How did you guys get started?
I mean, this has actually been a long time coming. Sam and I, so I have two other business partners, Sam and Ivy. Sam lives in San Francisco, Ivy's in New York. And when I used to live in San Francisco, Sam and I had a jewelry company called Swans and Wolves, which was like, I don't know, so young and dumb. But we enjoyed making jewelry. It was like feather earrings, a lot of crystals and stuff. And then I moved. I went to grad school. Sam started working in government. She got like a real legit job working for Barbara Boxer. So it kind of fell on the back burner. And then when I moved back to LA, I hit Sam up and I was like, I want to do something again, but you know, let's do it right this time and let's make it like a real entity, because I really wanted to get back to making things with my hands and making jewelry again. And Sam was like, let's do this, like let's make it, you know, sustainable, eco-conscious, and since we're all Filipino, we wanted to tie in the aspect of our Filipino heritage. And so that was pretty much the birth of it. I brought in Ivy because Ivy's an amazing art director in New York, and together we all have similar aesthetic and style. And so, you know, starting a business is hard and a lot of work. And so the three of us, you know, we each have our own tasks that we manage. And so I think together we work really well, and it's been really successful so far.
It's only been like a couple weeks so far, right?
Yeah, we launched a couple weeks ago, but we've been doing this for the last 2 years. You know, we knew we wanted to work with indigenous communities in the Philippines, but we had no idea how to do this. So the last 2 years have been such a learning process, and you know, making these connections and cultivating these relationships with these indigenous communities takes a lot of work, because we're working with people that don't have internet, don't have digital cameras, don't even speak English or understand our design concepts. And so it's been a real struggle, you know, communicating with them what we're looking for, and them communicating with us what their limitations and restrictions are based off of their environment, their materials, and their indigenous crafts. Obviously, technique affects design, and so it's difficult when we're not there with them. And so that has been a huge hurdle for us, is, you know, cultivating those relationships and finding out how our work process with them.
Yeah.
Because we've only met them once.
So you guys went on a trip, the three of you went on a trip last year, is that right?
Yeah, last August we all went to the Philippines so we had one community that we knew we were working with, and we had been working with them. They're called the Dadaguyan Bukidnon tribe, and they're in Mindanao. They're a community of 50 families, and their traditional craft is weaving, and the weaving is specific for women. We had been working with them for, I would say, 8 months to a year, trying to figure out what weaves we wanted to use. So what we did was we partnered with this social enterprise called Anthill Fabric Gallery. And Anthill is run by Anya. And Anya has her master's in business, and what she does is she goes to these indigenous communities and she teaches them economic stability. If someone comes to their community and is like, I'm gonna buy this fabric for 10 pesos, she says no. Like, you guys took a month to make this, you know, so she's teaching them English, teaching them how to save money, how to price things. And so when we went there, it was because we were having such communication breakdown with our design ideas and design development, and we were just like, wait, we don't understand, like, why is this so difficult for us to design pillows and just get like a color right? Like, we wanted apricot. Apricot was like our color that we were trying to get them to make, and since we were using natural dyes, apricot's not in their vocabulary, so they just didn't understand, and they were scared to say, no, we don't understand this, because for fear of losing business.
Yeah.
So, you know, a big part of us going there was to say, we're real people, this is a project that like we are investing in, we want to, like, you know, create a livelihood for you as well as us, and, you know, we want to introduce your traditional crafts to the Western world because we have this platform and we're all Filipino American, and for us it's so important to look back at our culture and connect in that way, because I don't have that opportunity here, you know. I mean, being American and meeting this community that is traditionally Filipino before Spanish influence, before any of that. This tribe has ancestral domain of their land, meaning the government doesn't own their land. They do. So they decide what they do with their lives, you know, how they make their living, what they do with the land. So it was just so important for us to meet these people because we wanted them to understand that we're serious about this and we respect what they do. And we want to show them that we, you know, want to build this partnership and grow with them, help them make a living and, you know, exist within this 21st century world, you know, because they don't have internet.
Where do you see I'm going in about like 5 years from now?
I think a big part of Ma'ari for the three of us is creating an entity that empowers women, especially women in the Philippines, because my mom's story of how she came here is crazy. You know, like she had $200, she met a guy who was in the Navy, they got married. Her journey coming here is like a crazy story. I can say that for like another time.
Yeah.
And my grandmother's story of like what she did with all of her children. She had 11 kids, you know?
Yeah.
Or 12 kids, 2 passed away, so 10 altogether. And it's just like the hardship and what they went through to get to America. For me, it's really important to, you know, take a step back and give back to my culture and you know, provide some sort of economic stability for these women, because their craft and what they do is so important to our culture. And it's so overlooked, because when we went there, they were just like, why do you want this life, you know? And for me, it's like, I would love to live on a mountain that is surrounded by beautiful plants, like living off the farm, working together, and weaving all day. I would love that life. But for them, it's like they want a 9-to-5 and they want to sit behind a computer. And to them, that is like their ultimate end goal. We want to teach these people that their traditional crafts and what they do is important, and it's just as good of a livelihood as a 9-to-5 job, you know? And so I think for Ma'ari in 5 years, we want to become almost a Rolodex of raw materials. Like if someone is looking for a weaving community that specializes in abaca, we have that. And we work with a marble community, and we're working on some products with a sustainable timber forest in the Philippines. And, you know, so I think just highlighting the raw materials that exist in the Philippines and just building relationships between those indigenous communities and Western world is our ultimate end goal. And also, if you think about a Filipino elevated brand, there is not one.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're just now getting recognized for food, like Lasa's killing it. There's all these, you know, Filipino restaurants that are like elevated Filipino food that are popping up, and people are like actually recognizing it now. And when you think of like indigenous weaving, you think of South America or India, and that's a lot of those markets are tapped into, but the Philippines isn't, and I don't know why. Yeah,
now you're going to bring it to light.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think a big part of it for all of us is, since we are Filipino, it's a huge, it's just like within our hearts, you know what I mean? Like we're so attached to it in that way. So it makes it not feel like work almost, you know? Because we all have 9-to-5 jobs that are really demanding and taxing. I'm an exhibition designer by day, and at night I'm making jewelry till like 2 a.m. And Ivy is an art director in New York, and she has branded a bunch of really amazing brands. And Sam, her Rolodex, she's worked for Barbara Boxer. She now works for the city of San Francisco, and she writes state legislation. And, you know, her focus is women's rights, poverty, and green business. And so, you know, ultimately within Ma'ari, we all do what we're good at, but it's our own. So it's different, you know? Yeah. And just the fact that it ties to our heritage elevates it for us. It makes it not a job yet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, once it grows, then you can like have a whole team too.
Yeah. I mean, that's the end goal, is like for us to be a benefit corporation.
Yeah.
Where a portion of our company goes back to social change and social impact, like Ben and Jerry's Reformation.
Yeah.
But in order for us to get to that point, we have to have our books open for the first 5 years, and we have to be evaluated and all that. So that's why it took us a really long time to launch, was because every aspect of our company is sustainable down to our shipping and packaging. With the jewelry, I mean, I can only use certain metals that are sourced ethically, and stones are the same way, you know, and so it's just a lot of time has been put into this.
A lot of thought, so that's really sweet. Thank you so much for letting me interview you today.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, so I have all the links in the description box down below, so you guys can check out Ma'ari.
Bye!